Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Hello Mr. Ruli. My name is Muhammad Rifal Fauzi. My student number is 12520400096. And today I am going to present an argumentative paragraph analysis based on an article I selected from CL Journal. The article I chose is titled Building Teacher Agency Through Collaborative Lesson Planning Student Teachers Evaluative Perspectives, written by Toshinobu Nagamine and published in the year 2025. Based on my active reading of this study, I collaborated with Gemini to generate a strong argumentative paragraph. I am holding the printout of the paragraph right here, and it reads as follows. Collaborative lesson planning (CLP) should be a central component of teacher education because it develops both pedagogical competence and professional agency among student teachers. Nagamine 2025 found the participant consistently valued collaborative skills, critical thinking, and communication abilities when evaluating their peers, suggesting that meaningful collaboration contributes to professional growth. In particular, student teachers who actively exchanged ideas, provided constructive feedbacks, and supported group members were often perceived as more effective collaborators. Some may argue that strong individual expertise, such as high English language proficiency, is sufficient for successful lesson planning. However, the study revealed that highly proficient participants were occasionally viewed as uncooperative when they dominated discussion or overlooked group dynamic. This finding demonstrated that expertise alone does not guarantee effective collaboration. Therefore, teacher education programs should prioritize collaborative learning environments that balance individual strength with interpersonal skill, as such environments are more likely to foster reflective, adaptable, and authentic future teachers. And now, let us break down the structural scaffolding of this paragraph. An effective argumentative paragraph does not merely summarize. It weaponizes data to defend a specific stance. The first point is the main claim. If you look at the very paragraph, the main claim of thesis statement is collaborative lesson planning or CLP should be a central component of teacher education because it develops both pedagogical competence and professional agency among student teachers. This is debatable rather than a simple fact. State a clear position, answer the so what question, and establishes the argument. And point number two is weaponizing evidence. Instead of just listing the author's finding like a summary, this paragraph uses the data to prove the claim. For example, it highlights how Nagamine 2025 found the participant consistently valued collaborative skills, critical thinking, and communication abilities when evaluating their peers. Student teachers who actively exchanged ideas, provide constructive feedbacks, and supported group members were often perceived as more effective collaborators. Uses findings from the study as evidence and then not merely repost data but uses to support the claim. Weaponized because the evidence directly strengthens the argument. The third point is the refutation or counter argument. The paragraph also strategically addresses a counter perspective or reveals a contradiction by stating, however, the study revealed that highly proficient participants were occasionally viewed as uncooperative when they dominated discussion or overlooked group dynamic. Re- ref- and this statement is refutes the opposing view with evidence from the article. And some may argue, and the second example is some may argue that strong individual expertise, such as high English language proficiency, is sufficient for successful lesson planning. Instead, that acknowledges that instead acknowledge an alternative viewpoint. And the last point is the resolution. Finally, the paragraph concludes with a clear resolution or call to action, which is therefore teacher education programs should prioritize collaborative learning environments. It returns to the original claim, so why the evidence matters, and end with a broader implication or recommendation. Beyond its structural framework, this paragraph is highly persuasive because of its strategic use of metadiscourse. I would like to main point I would like to point out how it blends both interactive and interactional markers. First, let's look at the interactive metadiscourse, which guides the reader through the text. The first example is the word in particular, which function as a transition. This helps the reader by signals elaboration. The second example is such as high English language proficiency, which serve to clarifies the meaning of individual expertise. And second, let's examine the interactional metadiscourse, which builds a direct relationship and establishes the writer's stance. The first, we see a clear example of booster when the text say this finding demonstrate that this allow the writers to show confidence in interpretation. And another example is more effective collaborators which act which, which act as a as an attitude makers and function to more effective collaborators. And the last one is conclusion. In conclusion, collaborating with Gemini allowed me to see exactly how professional academic writing blends rigid structural scaffolding with interpersonal meta-discourse to make a compelling argument. That concludes my analysis presentation. Thank you for your time and your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.